Hello everybody, welcome to the episode on the Edge with Enza. Thank you for joining me today. It is 9th of June 2023. It is still very hot and humid here in Dubai, but we are lucky that the temperatures have not reached 50 degrees Celsius this week as weather forecast was predicting. It was only 39 degrees Celsius. Wow, what a luck. Today I'm going to talk about US debt limit ceiling and Securities and Exchange Commission prosecuting two largest crypto exchanges in the world, Binance and Coinbase as well. Let's start talking about US debt limit ceiling and its agreement that was reached on 28th of May this year. The US was expected to hit its debt limit on 1st of June, but this crisis was completely manufactured. Just look at the past two crises. The first one was the debt limit crisis of 2011. This was projected to be a major turning point at that time, but it turned out to be completely uneventful. The dip in stock resulted and lasted around 2 to 3 weeks. And after all, there are some political benefits in this case, and as there were in 2011, to let that limit get hit. This is probably the best opportunity for the opposing party to blame the ruling party for the likely recession as well. And there was a complete lack of urgency dealing with the matter. The first major meeting between the president and the congressional leadership took place and a week away, and I think it was announced on the 9th of May. So they know from history that the impact from this debt limit crisis would be temporary. But let's look at another crisis that was more serious and affected the rest of the world. It was the crisis of the Lehman Brothers collapse in September 2008. This was a real crisis that the US government had to deal with. And the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act, the act which created the Troubled Asset Relief Program, was proposed on September 20, 2008. It was a bailout plan in the amount of 750 billion US dollars, and it was passed on 3rd October 2008. So this was a real crisis, and in this real crisis, it took around 14 days for the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act to pass. This is the speed that legislators can act and when faced with a real crisis. Debt limit crisis in the long run will be a theater just like this current one was, where the governments in the future will have to eventually to deal and restructure it and see how they are going to repay it. This week was marked by US regulators suing two largest crypto exchanges in the world, Binance and Coinbase, and in the case of the first, they are also going after the CEO of Binance, Changpeng, that goes by initials CZ. He actually, Changpeng, established residence in Dubai last year. But the Securities and Exchange Commission filed a highly anticipated lawsuit against him and his crypto exchange Binance on Monday, accusing the exchange operating illegally and selling unregistered securities. The suit follows similar actions against the exchange and its founder in March this year from the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. According to SEC's charges, Binance, controlled by Zhao, operated as an exchange as a broker, a dealer, and a clearing agency that earned approximately 11.6 billion US dollars in revenues from customers' fees. The regulator notes that Binance should have been registered as an exchange, a broker, and a clearing agency. Binance called both suits disappointing, and they vowed to defend itself. And in this case, they are also naming high-profile CEO as defendant because SEC brought up 13 charges against him. Changpeng also played a dramatic role in the rise and the fall of FTX. He actually decided to withdraw 2.5 billion US dollar equivalent in cash from FTX. He claims he did it because Sam Bankman-Fried was lobbying against its competitors in Congress. So he started to liquidate the FTT token. The FTT token is a native token of the FTX exchange. I will now read to you what he said related to the liquidation of the assets from FTX. As a part of Binance's exit from FTX equity last year, Binance received roughly 2.1 billion US dollars equivalent in cash. Binance US dollar and FTT, due to recent revelations that have come, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. So next, we will try to do so in a way that minimizes market impact. Due to market conditions and limited liquidity, we expect this will take a few months to complete. We typically hold tokens for the long term, and we have held onto this token for this long. We stay transparent with our actions. After that, FTX as well collapsed, and that also in a way caused a bankruptcy and Bankman-Fried's criminal trial. But regulators are putting the entire industry on notice. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren says that cryptocurrency fuels the fentanyl trade. This is completely wrong. Criminals have been using money to conduct illicit activities even before Senator Warren was born. Blockchain is not a criminal paradise that Warren makes out to be. Transactions are recorded on the blockchain forever and with the wallet address printed for the world to see. If you have a wallet address, you have its full transaction history. So don't let these people fool you. Especially after Binance and Coinbase's lawsuit, it is clear that the US government is starting to crack down on crypto and its activity. When it comes to Coinbase, SEC argues that crypto firm violated certain regulation provisions of the SEC's Act of 1934, as well the securities offering registration provisions of the Securities Act of 1933. The question is now whether this crypto is security and if crypto has a future in the US given the fact that US government is prosecuting two largest crypto exchanges in the world. And I also heard that Robinhood is suspending trading of Cardano, Polygon, and Solana from its exchange as of 9th of June. There are around 20,000 protocols that Chair Gensler could sue, but for that resources are needed, and most of them are hard to locate, and some are based abroad, and some have anonymous founders. So what he decided to do is he is suing two largest crypto exchanges in the world, and in this way he is making crypto inaccessible to most of people. Some people think that cryptocurrencies are equities in disguise because crypto issuers are raising money from retailers without bothering to register with the SEC. Some are thinking that they are digital assets that are very different from equities, and they do not need SEC's registration. In equities, there are legal claims on assets and cash flows, so there are promises between the issuer and the investor, and all of this needs regulating. In the case of fully decentralized crypto protocol, there are none of those. There are no legal claims, no management, no promises. So there is nothing to regulate, and regulation is mostly about disclosures. If everything is in the code, so what still needs to be disclosed? When there are no promises between the investor and the issuer, so unlike with equities, there are no ownership rights as well to be passed. Is Binance a security? Maybe because Binance offered a pay yield on it via Binance US dollar reward program. Gensler is not interested in whether crypto is or is not security. They just want to shut down the whole thing. The SEC filed a complaint against Coinbase because of their S1 filing. This is the filing required for an IPO if the company is going to be listed on a stock exchange. And they are claiming because they filed S1 that they knew that they were listing securities, and now we are going into a circular reasoning about this. The SEC approved S1, so approval of S1 by SEC means only that the form has been filled correctly. So this is not an endorsement of the legality of a company's business, and everything is left up to investors. What was the impact on Coinbase, Binance, and Bitcoin after the charges were filed by the SEC? Well, Coinbase shares dropped in value on Wednesday, on the 7th of June, and they were trading around 52 US dollars from a big drop from 83 US dollars. It's a year high. So the shares plummeted around 16.81% this week. When it comes to Binance, investors pulled a record cash in the amount of 791.6 million US dollars out of its exchange, and Bitcoin took a little hit. Regardless of these SEC's charges against two largest crypto exchanges, Bitcoin is the best performing asset during the 2 years of market's bad performance. I would like to read to you what Treasury Secretary Yellen said on 27th of February 2014 about Bitcoin. When she was testifying before the Senate's Banking Committee. Bitcoin is a payment innovation that's taking place outside the banking industry. To the best of my knowledge, there is no intersection at all in any way between Bitcoin and banks that the Federal Reserve has the ability to supervise and regulate. So the Fed does not have authority to supervise or regulate Bitcoin in any way. She was very clear about Bitcoin. The Fed does not have authority with respect to Bitcoin, said Yellen. But certainly it would be appropriate for Congress to ask questions about what legal structure would be for digital currencies. It is not so easy to regulate Bitcoin because there is no central issuer or network operator. This is decentralized global entity, and we are looking at this, she concluded. Hopefully through this process that crypto industry is going now, investors get more clarity, and everybody deserves this clarity because we investors would want to know where to invest. Thank you for watching me today, and I wish you a pleasant weekend.